We're going to take a quick break, less than 5 seconds, come back. Bellator Season 6 featherweight tournament champion Daniel Straus is going to chat with John about his fight with Alvin Robinson this weekend, Bellator 78. Check us out after the break.
Welcome back.
Appreciate you taking the time to speak with me. Daniel Straus, Bellator featherweight tournament champion. I know it's been a while. Does it still sound kind of cool to hear that?
Yeah, definitely, man. It always sounds cool.
Right. And I know that was something you wanted to do the first go-around. You made it to the finals and ended up losing, and then you went back and kind of redeemed yourself, beating a really tough guy, a perennial top 10 guy in Marlon Sandro. I haven't been able to speak to you since that bout, so I was just curious, going through that fight, do you feel like you kind of put the lessons from the Pitbull fight to use as far as just kind of implementing your game plan and leaving it all out there?
Yeah, I did, man. It was, for me, it was another all-or-nothing fight. I felt like I had nothing to lose, and instead of going in there worrying about not, getting knocked out or not getting submitted, just playing my own game, and that's what I tried to do in that fight with Marlon Sandro. And for the most part, I think that I did that.
Yeah, and obviously you're known for having really good wrestling, a grinder, tough on the ground, good ground and pound, not really someone anyone can submit. You got good submissions yourself, but really, especially in the Sandro fight, I mean, your boxing looked good, you kept him at range, and you kind of dictated the pace on the feet. You had really good footwork, too, and he didn't have an easy time striking with you at all that night. So I guess, how do you feel like your striking's come along, especially in the last tournament?
It came along great, man. Just working with my coaches back home and working with my coaches down in American Top Team, I think it's come a long way. I've learned a lot in the past, year, and I've been through a lot. So, I put out my training to use, and when I step into the cage, each time I feel like it's showing. I'm proving that I'm getting better and better each time.
Right, and obviously you got a fight coming up pretty soon. It's going to be on October 26th against a UFC veteran, Alvin Robinson. Before we talk about him specifically, I mean, you've had some time off since the tournament ended, and Pitbull and Kern were supposed to fight. It got delayed because of an injury, but just how excited are you just to be able to get back in there and get active again?
I'm really excited, man. I took, like you said, I took a little time off, and I didn't stop training, but, I took a little time to myself to, heal up, and then as well fill up, get better, so, I got a lot of good training in on my off time, and, this now being a fight, so I stayed in shape, and, getting ready for this fight wasn't as hard.
Right, and as far as Alvin goes, obviously he's a really experienced guy. He did fight in the UFC a few times. Now that was at lightweight, so obviously he's moved down in weight since then. But besides his experience and time in the UFC, what do you know about him as far as what he brings to the table?
Just a good jiu-jitsu guy. Definitely not a sloucher. He trains with some really good guys. Again, like I said, a really, really good jiu-jitsu guy. So I really don't want to play his game as far as being on the ground. I know his striking isn't bad either, so he's very well-rounded. So it's just a good matchup for me, hopefully I can keep him where I'm comfortable on the feet, and then, also on the ground as well. I hope on the ground I can, keep him in a position I'm comfortable, keep him uncomfortable on the ground, and, that way I can be able to dominate him anywhere it goes.
Right, and if I'm not mistaken, except for you did have one fight in between the two Bellator tournaments, I think, back on in Ohio against, what was that guy's name? He fought in the UFC before. Yeah, and other than that, though, you've been mainly fighting tournament fights, and so you have to get ready with that kind of mentality. So fighting Alvin, obviously it's a good interim fight while you're waiting for your title shot, but how do you approach it mentally, knowing that this in a way is kind of like the non-title fight some of the Bellator champions have had? So how do you kind of approach this fight mentally as far as what's at stake versus when you were fighting in the tournament?
I'm approaching it as I approach all my fights. I really can't look past this guy, and I won't look past this guy. I definitely have to prepare differently as far as, stamina-wise, because, fighting in a tournament is much different from fighting in just a regular fight. I took it as I've trained as if it
Right, and also on that card, obviously, you're working in American Top Team too, but back at Team Vision in Cincinnati, a guy, who's trained there as well, Sean Asher. Just curious, what's it like now seeing a guy that you've been training with for a while, seeing him when he was first starting out, and now he's going to be on a Bellator card with you.
Oh man, it's awesome. It's awesome to have guys back home on the card with me. Sean Asher and Dom Steele, they're going to be making some noise, in Bellator, and I really feel it coming. It's nice to see other guys, at my gym back home, be able to get on some of these big cards and show their talent. Because, when I was coming up, and everybody used to ask me, well, who's the guys that help you get ready? And these are the guys, and they're finally getting to, have their break. So it's really good to see these guys, put on the main stage.
Mm-hmm. And if you wouldn't mind playing analyst for a second, obviously, you mentioned Dominic Steele. He's fighting a guy Bellator fans are going to be very familiar with, Brian Rogers, a really talented, athletic guy, hard-hitting for sure. As far as, that game plan and what he's going to have to do, what are the keys to victory, do you think, for him going against a guy who's as seasoned as Rogers is?
Like any other fight, going against a guy like Rogers, it's going to be a dangerous fight. Rogers is an outstanding fighter. He has a lot of power, a lot of knockout power. He's, very good on his feet, and, he's also good, at submission defense. So, getting ready for him is just definitely a mental thing. And Dom has been in the right place, and he's been training hard, and, he's been looking forward for this fight. He knows he is going into this fight to be he's not the top dog, he's the underdog. So, he's ready, and he's been pushing and working really hard, and, I can't wait to see what he does.
Mm-hmm. Right, and lastly, as far as just like I mentioned, you've got a title shot coming up too after winning the tournament. Pitbull and Curran still have to fight. Do you feel anxious at all waiting for that, or with the amount of time it's taking? Or I guess how do you approach just the having to wait for it? I imagine it's got to be probably the only negative part of all this is all the just being anxious.
It does suck, knowing that you get to fight for the title, but you have to wait. But it's part of the game, man. Right now we're in a sport where injuries occur, and you can't blame anybody. You can't really fault anybody. Those guys work really hard to get to where they're at, and I've worked really hard to get to where I'm at. So I can't blame those guys for being injured or whatnot. It's definitely frustrating to have to sit back. So I can only feel the pain of guys like Pitbull. He's been out for a year. Got ready for a fight, and they got set back again. So I'm just in a position where I just don't want to sit. I know that I have this title shot and whatnot, and for me to stay focused, I would like to continue working, continue fighting, and prove that I deserve this title shot.
All right, cool. Well, once again, appreciate you doing the show once again with us. And that's going to be October 26th, Friday on MTV2, Bellator Fighting Championships. I believe that is card number 78. Daniel Straus, featherweight tournament champion against UFC veteran Alvin Robinson. Daniel, thanks again, and feel free to, any shout-outs or sponsors you want to mention?
Definitely. I just want to thank everybody, all my friends, family, and fans that, been following me and having my back this whole time. I want to thank my coaches. My teams, Vision, MMA, and American Top Team, and I just want to thank everybody out there that's been rooting and supporting me.
All right, great. Well, good luck on Friday. Looking forward to seeing you getting back out there.